Welcome. Thank you for having me. So my name's Todd Renaud. I'm Chief Information Officer of Conn's HomePlus. Conn's HomePlus is a durable homes good retailer. We are primarily located in the Southeast and Southwest through 15 states. We are over $1 billion in revenue and have over 4,500 employees across all of our 150 plus stores, 12 warehouses, and 35 cross docks. Our mission is to make it possible for everyone to purchase quality, long-lasting products for their home. What makes Conn's a bit unique is that we are a consumer finance provider as well as a retailer. So 80+% of the people who leave our stores with a product, either out of the store or to be delivered, or through our e-commerce website, do so with in-house financing provided by ourselves or our partners. So we are located in the Woodlands, Texas, which is north of Houston. And we are using three products primarily right now from AutomationAnywhere, and that is RPA Workspace, IQBot, and ARI. And we started with ARI and IQBot in late 2019. We have, like a lot of companies, manual processes hurting both the employee and customer experience. And in fact, we have a lot of legacy technical debt, which again, as an IT shop, you never really get away from. And so for us, doing integration and modernization and transformation of our systems has been on the forefront of all of our strategic roadmaps. However, we can't move fast enough sometimes to be able to provide real benefit to the employees and more importantly to our customers, not only from an experience perspective, but also from an efficiency perspective. So there's really three places that we're using it right now. One is to help us process complex account payable processes. And so we have 125 vendors, over 8,000 transactions that have to go through those vendors on a regular basis. And this was done by multiple people in the accounting department, and it was very manually intensive and quite frankly, not that exciting. We also, as I mentioned earlier, have a large amount of loans that occur when we sell product. All of those loans have to be processed on the back end to actually onboard into the company. And so for us, we had to bring in additional outsource help to really be able to process that. Now that's a great problem to have because we are selling, but the reality is we don't have the systems from an integration perspective that could really handle that type of volume. And then thirdly, we had contact center experience dissatisfaction as a use case. So right now, 1 out of 4 calls, actually previous to what we're doing, 1 out of 4 calls were dropped due to wait times. And the reason that we had to do that, I'll explain a little bit later. So what we're doing as a solution now is to utilize the full AutomationAnywhere platform capabilities to automate AP invoices using IQBot, onboard more loans faster and with less people for our loan and credit process back in our loan operations group. And finally, we've actually transformed the customer service experience in our contact centers. And I'll describe each of these in a little bit more detail in the following slides. So, automating the IP process with IQBot. Here was our challenge, 125 vendors submitting invoices on a regular day. We actually have more than that doing it, and we are slowly adding more of these into the scenario. All of these invoices included paper, scanned documents, and things in between. We had 8,000 transactions that had to be processed to be able to enter all of these in, and it was 100% manual. With IQBot out-of-the-box models, many of our invoice types were covered, so which was a great starter for us. But with some custom training and flexible OCR engine capabilities, we were able to scan all of the non-standard documents to be read and extracted. This was a huge benefit for us because quite frankly, with OCR, we actually improved accuracy as well because humans make mistakes, and that would cause us problems with the 100% manual process. So we automated the AP process with the IQBot. With out-of-the-box models that came with IQBot, we were able to get a jump start with some of the invoice types. But beyond that, we were able to use some custom training and the flexible OCR engine to actually take care of the rest. And this was a huge benefit for us because, number one, we get invoices in all types of quality and shapes and sizes from our invoices. And additionally, through this reading and data extraction, we actually improved our accuracy because humans make mistakes, as we all know, and as a 100% manual process, we had to go back and deal with some of that later on, which could be time consuming and complex and also disadvantage us from a cash perspective. So all of our critical AP processes were fully automated. Now, the key learning for us is to unleash the full potential of IQBot, you really need to do some custom training to meet your use cases. We actually use the AP group as our proof of concept because as the financial arm of the organization, the cost benefit was huge. And then they would become evangelists for us in the organization. So really great example, we think, of how to use Automation Anywhere and IQBot. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we needed faster end-to-end loan and credit onboarding. And so before automation, you'll see on the slide here, there's multiple steps that had to have happened. And in our loan operations, we have queues, and those queues have to be processed. And on each of those queues, someone has to go in and they have to go through manual steps, logging on to different systems to be able to process and provide some different updates, maybe do subsequent transactions, maybe even change something based on what they see there. So we had to bring in 9 contractors to help with the volume, which again, it's a great problem to have because that means we are lending money, which means we are also selling product, which of course we want to do. And so, but we could only process as much as possible in business hours. And what we saw is over time, we had to pay overtime to get caught up based on the volumes. So faster end-to-end onboarding after automation, we have 10 bots today doing the manual work. They can do it during the business day. We usually have it done after business hours. So the next morning, the human workforce that remains is able to come in and either do other work that comes as subsequent dependencies based on that, or they can deal with errors or questions that come in. And so we've tried to cover all the scenarios, but the reality is, and something that helped us in our implementation is we do not focus on being 100% perfect from the standpoint of covering all scenarios. Some of them are not very frequent, and therefore there's not really a benefit to going through the process of automating all of that. Instead, what we do is we retained a few of those individuals who were originally doing all of the processing and have them work errors and also fine-tune and enhance the flows as we go forward. We still rely upon humans to be in the loop for review and approval just because it's such an important process for us and also for our customer. And so that's something that I think you have to think about a little bit, is really treating these as a tool, but remembering that you still want to have some of that oversight that normally might occur when a human's doing it manually. So right now, here we say we're 80% faster. It's actually even faster than that today, much more streamlined. And the other benefit is that we actually don't have to hire people to do work that is mind-numbing, is like we like to say. Rather, they can do some other work that's a little bit more exciting because this repetitive work is something that a robot can do. So, contact center transformation with Ari. This is really, I think, from a conceptual perspective, where we're most excited about the benefits of Automation Anywhere and its tools. So before automation, we would have a customer call dropped per agent for every 3 customers. But let's set that aside for a little bit because that's certainly important. But the biggest transformation for us is that today in the manual world, there are 5 systems that a customer service agent might have to use or most often will use when dealing with a customer. So when that customer calls in, they have to get information. They had to manually go to each of these systems and they had to take information out of it. Some of them would even use a notepad on the computer to capture all of that. And while they're doing all of this, they either have to engage the customer in a discussion or they have to put the customer on hold, which you can imagine as someone who's probably been on customer calls before is very, very frustrating. So with RPA and Ari today, we've reduced our average call time from 4 minutes to 90 seconds. Huge improvement. But more importantly, we've improved the customer experience, and that really is our goal. So how does it work today in automation? So as a call comes into a queue prior to the agent answering, Ari pulls all the relevant customer information if we have it. If not, we do have a way that we can get that based on the call if they're calling from a different number or something of that nature. And it presents this information on a single pane of glass in a dashboard that we created. Now again, those 5 lists that you see there in the blue box, Very important to understand those are all individual systems that the agent used to have to go to and manually retrieve all of that. So now they can spend more time speaking with the customer while RA enters data in the various systems. They also have a higher rate of completion because they don't have to go to each of the systems and put all of that information in. Outcomes and benefits. So really in two main areas I'd like to talk about here. Number one is 18 months ago, we started with our journey with Automation Anywhere, mainly in the back office. And these are scenarios, 35 processes that have been automated. And for the back office, we've seen material gains in efficiency, cost, business performance, and employee experience. Now, just as important, and some may say a little bit more important for our business as a retailer, is that using RE starting in October 2020, we had more than 14 types of customer service processes that now use the Automation Anywhere tools to work with the agent to provide better service to the customer. So I mentioned 4 minutes to 90 seconds, absolute material benefit. But more importantly, we also have happier customer service agents because they can spend their time, instead of moving through systems, actually working to help the customer and do what's necessary to make their lives better as well and satisfy them for the reason in their call. So what are our future plans today? We're going to continue to push the boundaries of what can be automated and what can be possible with the Automation Anywhere platform. And we're going to transform the rest of the contact center experience for more than 1,000 employees so that we can provide not only better customer service, but do so more efficiently and more effectively and let them spend their time helping the customer instead of moving through systems. While long-term we might want to integrate some of these systems so that we don't have to use RPA, one of the things that we realize is that RPA is an effective tool that can also be used by the employee themselves. So we want to democratize automation for all our employees and make RPA viral across the Conn's departments. And the way we want to do that is to use what we call citizen development. And so we will teach and train people in the business to use the Automation Anywhere platform. We will retain framework oversight. We will most likely retain a lot of governance. And then we have to make sure that there are proper processes for errors, internal audit, compliance, and other areas of the business that we think we need to own, but we want to push the rest of that out to the business and let them be in control of their own destinies. So key takeaways, couple here that I'd like to talk about. Start with a few processes, but think big when it comes to the future. So everyone talks about designing with the end in mind. We thought about that, but certainly we wanted to find an evangelist in the business. So it wasn't IT pushing the benefits, it was someone in the business. And we partnered with AP because it was such a great use case with a high material benefit that we knew at that point they would be our best salespeople to implement RPA versus IT doing that. A few automated processes can have a massive impact. Again, look for those opportunities for low-hanging fruit. That's a cliche, obviously, but you want to combine it with ones that will make a very defined benefit. And by picking maybe a more standard process, again, AP had a very defined start and end. There was not a lot of different scenarios that we needed to incorporate. We knew that we had a better chance of success with our proof of concept, and then we could expand after that, again, with people evangelizing on top of that. Improving the employee experience improves the customer experience. Definitely something to think about. The goal is customer experience usually, and maybe your employees are your internal customers or what you consider your customer in general. But for us, we know that when the customer service agents, as an example, don't have to do menial work, they are happier, and when they're talking to our customers, that comes through. And so we think about that as well when we are looking at scenarios that make sense for us as a company to implement. Go beyond RPA and examine the IQBot and RE can do for more automation use cases. RPA is a simple term that a lot of people use for many different scenarios. What we're doing in the IT department is really working with our partner to understand what does IQBot do and what's possible, and RE, what can it do and what's possible. More importantly, we also partner with Automation Anywhere and challenge them to tell us what's possible because it's their tool, it's their product, it's their solution. They know it best, and we want them to help us along with our journey. So engaging with an AutomationAnywhere partner who understands the ins and outs of the platform is important. We've done that with Recode Solutions, and they have been a fantastic partner. They've been someone who came to us with the knowledge, and because they understood also our environment and our company outside of just RPA, together they've been able to help us provide a lot of value to the organization in a relatively short amount of time. And at this point, RPA is going to continue being an increasingly used product and solution within Conn's HomePlus. Thank you.